everyone. Welcome to On Point. My name is Leighton Levy. This week, we have track and field royalty. This past summer, Shaunae Miller-Uibo became only the second woman to repeat as Olympic 400-meter champion when she took the title in Tokyo in 48.36 seconds, a brand new personal best for her. She joins us this week on Point to talk about the experience, of course, and looking ahead to 2022. Shaunae, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on a remarkable victory in Tokyo this summer.
Thank you, Ms. Leighton, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much. All
right, so let's start with the 400-meter final. Has the magnitude of the occasion, has that finally sunk in? You've had a few weeks to kind of think about it and recognize what you've accomplished. Only you and of course, the French champion, Marita Koch, have accomplished what you did this past summer in Tokyo. Has the magnitude finally sunk in for you?
To be honest, I don't think it ever really sinks in. Over the weeks, I've kind of understood what I've done, and to be in the same boat with Marita Koch, I mean, it's a true blessing. And so, obviously, as the weeks went by, I was like, okay, like I really did that. But yeah, I'm just so blessed right now.
What was that feeling like? I mean, given what we saw in 2019, you ran 48.37 and finished second. Was it a vindication of that performance compared to what happened in Tokyo, that you finally got a second Olympic gold?
Obviously, getting a next Olympic medal is, I mean, you just can't complain with it. I was really happy with it. The time was really great. But for me, I think it was a lot more special for me, even with the time. It was a lot more special because we had to go through just to get it. And yeah, it's going to be one of my special moments in track and field at the end of my career.
Okay, so back in '96, of course, Marita Koch did the double. She did on the 200 and, of course, the 400. You were attempting the same this past summer. Mm-hmm. But, of course, you had been worried about the scheduling. Was the eventual final schedule adequate enough for you to challenge both, given what we saw on the 200, where you said you had a bit of a niggle? Was it, had you been fully healthy, would it have been possible for you to accomplish both? What do you think?
Yeah, no, we definitely think that we had a good chance of accomplishing both. Me and my coach, we made the decision in 2019, actually at the end of the season, that we were going to go for both in 2021. We just obviously didn't want to share that with anyone. But the main goal was to focus on the 200 this season, and unfortunately injuries came and we never got a chance to get to speed work. But I mean, we still went out there, we still gave it a good fight, and I fell a little bit short, but yeah, I'm so proud of myself for what I was able to accomplish this season.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that, because you started the season well, 22:03, I think it was in Oregon, mm-hmm. and then you picked up an injury. So what you're saying is that the 200 was your primary focus this season, not necessarily mm-hmm. the 400. When did the 400 get back into the conversation about what you would do in Tokyo?
Like I said, the 400 was always a part of the plan. We were always planning on doing both. For me, it was just we were going to mainly focus on the 200, being that the 400 is more of like a natural event for me, and we always get into good training for it. So the entire off season, we've been training for the 400, and we were supposed to start our speed training right after Eugene in April, at the end of April, and that's when I got hurt, and so we never really got a chance to jump into speed work. And yeah, like I said, I think it's unfortunate sometimes in track.
How bad was it? What kind of injury was it, and how bad was it? I mean, obviously it had an impact on your preparation, but can you give us a sense of how bad it was?
Yeah, so at the end we found out that it was a tear in my gluteus medius. I actually stalled for a bit with trying to fix it because I didn't quite know what it was at first, and I was kind of soft playing it. So every time my coach would ask me like what happened, because I heard it in practice, and it just felt as though something was just jammed. And so I figured, maybe I could just go to the chiropractor to get it worked on and everything would be fine. We did that. It didn't help. And then I figured, maybe it's my psoas that's tight and something that's jamming it. And we worked on the psoas for a little while. It still didn't help. It started to get a little bit softer going into the rest of the season. And then when I went to Boston, to compete, we realized, okay, this is something really bad. Go back, and the minute we get back home, we're going to go and check and see what it is. And we took an MRI and found out that I had a slight tear in my gluteus medius, and so we decided to rest it off. And yeah, everything just was going slowly from there, and just trying to build back up in time for Tokyo.
Tell me though, the focus was on the 200 this year, as you said, but this was a year where there was so much depth in the 200. There was Gabby Thomas, of course. You saw the U.S. trials. There were 4 women under 22 seconds. Of course, in Jamaica, we saw Elaine Thompson here and Shelly and Fraser Price break 22. And of course, there were others who were right on the cusp. Dina Asher-Smith, of course, yourself. It was probably the deepest field. And of course, who can forget Christine Mboma. What was your thinking going into the 200, notwithstanding the injury, notwithstanding anything else, just the sheer talent that was on show? What was your thinking about your chances in the 200, given the depth that we saw this year? I don't think there's ever been a year when it has been as deep.
Yeah, the competition was really fierce this year. And that's one thing that I love about track and field is, you always go there and you never know what to expect, but you always want the best competition to step up. And the girls are really stepping up this season. I think it's fair to say that the girls are overshadowing the guys this season, and we really stepped up and really put our foot down this year. And so, yeah, it was a really packed field, and I was really looking forward to it and really excited when I saw the times. And all we were hoping for was that we could get back into some decent shape to be able to tango with the girls.
What happened in the final, though? 'Cause, I mean, we saw we were hoping for that showdown with all of these very fast women, and then you got up and then you were just going through the motions. 24 seconds is well off what you're capable of.
Yeah. Like I said, in Tokyo, we had so many challenges. I went into Tokyo nursing an injury, and, right before the heats, I actually felt really good. Everything was going really well. And it was after the heats that I actually got a little bit banged up, where I started to feel my right hip, and we didn't quite know exactly what it was. And went on it, raced on it. It was still light at the time. Raced into the semis and really hurt it then. And but in the race itself, I actually didn't feel the hip. It was my hamstring that ended up grabbing on me. And yeah, it was just a wrap from there. So I just figured, I'm one of those people who said, if it's not for me, it's not for me. And, after all that happened, I was just like, anyway, God, you have your plans. This obviously wasn't a part of it. So be it.
Let's go back a little bit. I wanted to ask you this before, but in Hungary, I think it was, you lost to Shericka Jackson, 21.97, I think, to 22.15. You've been competing against Shericka since God knows when. I think way back in the early 2000s at Carista Games. You were the first person to beat her. What was that like, though, finishing on the opposite end of a battle between yourself and Shericka Jackson? Because I can't remember a time when she's actually beaten you before Hungary.
Actually, me and Shericka ran our first 200 together in 2010. And she actually won. I got second in it. So Shericka's she's a fierce competitor, right? We've been at it back and forth quite a few times. And so just being able to race against her, she's in the season of her life. I mean, she's put down amazing performances this year, and I'm so happy for her. And I can't wait to see what she does in the future. But she ran a great race. There's nothing you can put against that. And we went out there, and I think we put on a great show for the crowd.
Yeah, so of course, let's go back to Tokyo now. Of course, the 400, going into the final, I remember we were in the studio and Pauline Davis was very nervous because there were reports coming out of Tokyo that you might be 100% for the final. And Pauline Davis was a bag of nerves. She was wondering whether or not you were able to pull it off. But then not only did you pull it off, but you ran one of the fastest times of this era, 48.36. Was that something that was surprising to you, given the challenges that you had physically going into the final?
Yeah, no, definitely. Tokyo was a tough time for me. And I think for me, just being able to get out of the semifinals was a big step. Oh my gosh, I don't want to get emotional. It was a big step just getting out of the semis. And one of the things that really got me through, I got a prophecy from two of my apostles back at home, one being my spiritual mom, Apostle Janice Newton, and Apostle Stephen Russell. And they both gave me two separate words where they were saying, God said to keep going through, don't give up. He can see where you want to give up. But he has and they actually set a record in store for you. That he was saying that he was going to do it for you, and so that was one of the things that was really keeping me motivated. I'm sorry. Let me get this water. But that's one of the things that was really keeping me motivated through the whole thing, and just keeping my mindset strong and getting through it. But I was in a lot of pain in Tokyo, and just to be able to finish on top, I think that was the main thing for me. The time was surprising because we ran it in so much pain. But I mean, it was a true blessing. And of course, my coach afterwards, he was looking and he was like, we're going to get the world record next time. But I mean, the main thing for me was just being able to get through it. What I went through, it was a whole lot. So,
yeah, I can imagine how difficult that must have been for you. How's your health now?
We're still battling it a bit. We ended up finding out that it was tearing the coin joint tendon in the hip, in my right hip now, and we also have a small fragment inside there as well. And so, yeah, we're getting through it. Started therapy already on it, and things are looking bright for next season. So, okay,
so let's look ahead now. Of course, there are 4 championship years coming up: 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. Assuming that you return to full health soon enough before the preseason starts, what are you thinking about for Oregon next year? Are you thinking still 2-4, or are you going to be focusing on one over the other?
We're not sure yet, and that's something I have to sit down and discuss with my coach and see what's the best plan from here. But like I said, in his mind, I know he's already thinking world record for the 400, and so that's definitely going to be on the table. And yeah, we'll see what else from there.
All right, so let me ask you this, because you are clearly the best 400-meter female runner of the modern era. World record is 47.60 and has stood forever. Marita Koch has set a standard that kind of like Flo during 100. It almost feels impossible. Given what you've done over the past 2 seasons, 48.37 and now 48.36, you did mention the record a while ago. Is that something that you think is within reach, or is it going to require something extra special from you over the next couple of years to be able to get to that level?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there was a time where it was almost just not looking at the record, just seeing how far you can go in the 400. But, I put in a lot of work over these past seasons, and I've learned a lot about the event. And as my times continue to drop, I think that we still have a long way to go. Like I said, just being able to run 48.36 off of the season that I had, I think that there's so much more in store, and the main goal definitely is going to be to try and drop below 48-second barrier. But yeah, the world record is in sight, and we're definitely going to go and try and go after it pretty hard and see where we fall with it.
You're a 21.74 200-meter runner. And of course, obviously, you have the strength of 10 women. What do you think you're going to need to be able to do to get to that level? 47.6 is not easy to get to by any level of imagination. Do you have to be faster, you think, over 200? Do you have to be stronger? Does there have to be a greater balance between the two characteristics that you possess?
I think it's going to have to be a great balance. We're going to have to be a little bit quicker over the 2 and stronger where we can be able to hold and finish. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. I'm starting to get a better understanding of how to run the 400. And I think it's just a matter of putting everything together and just being able to put together a great race at the right time in the right atmosphere.
So let me ask you this. 2024 is not that far away, huh? It's only like 2.5 years away.
It is.
Are you thinking that maybe you're going for a 3rd Olympic title? I know it's some ways off, but you're 27 now. You'll still be in your prime in the next 2.5 years. Do you think that's something that you're going after, looking longer term?
Definitely. 2024, it would probably be my last Olympics, but definitely 2024. We're definitely looking forward to that one.
So you're telling me you're going to quit at 30, Shaunae? There's so much talent there. And when you see Shelly and Fraser-Price, I know it's a different event.
I know.
Shelly's 34. Cristiano Ronaldo is 36. You are clearly blessed with a lot of athletic talent. I'm sure you could probably go on to 2025.
They're changing it. You know, I mean, someone like Shelly, they're putting down great performances, putting down personal best records. And, you know, it's obviously changing the standards for the women. But I mean, we don't know. I don't know. We don't know how it might look out. LA 2028, maybe. But for certain, 2024, that's for certain, that one.
Okay. So let me step away from your competitions in Tokyo now to ask about some of the things that you might have seen that impressed you on the track in Tokyo. What were some of those events? Was there anything that jumped at you in terms of athletic performance that will live with you for as long as you're alive?
I mean, definitely. There were a lot of great performances in Tokyo. I mean, the lean and the 100 and the 200 putting down great performances. You had the 4 hurdles, both female and male, breaking the world records, dipping below 52 seconds and 46 seconds, 45 seconds. I mean, that was like quite ridiculous to watch. There was the triple jump women where she broke the world record, and I mean, that was just a ridiculous jump. And then there was just a whole bunch of events that I was just watching and just really surprised by. But I mean, it was a great chance to just sit back and enjoy track. So yeah, there was a lot of great performances.
Among the outstanding performances was your countryman, of course, Stephen Gardner, who, of course, then becomes Olympic champion. The Bahamas coming away with both Olympic titles. First of all, I want to hear your thoughts on Stephen's performance because he's been, as you know, he started late. He started at 16, and now he's 25? So he's done in 9 years what many people take a lifetime to do. World Championships in 2019, and of course, Olympic titles. What is it in the water in the Bahamas that makes you guys so good at the 400?
They tell us it's the conch solid. But I mean, Stephen is an exceptional athlete, and he's one of my close friends too. And I'm so happy for him. He worked so hard to get to the point where he's at, and he deserves all the success. Him being right the day before me, I mean, I was freaking out for him. I was so happy. And right before I went out for my finals, the national anthem was playing, so he was getting his medal, and I was just sitting in the back, just listening to it and watching it on the TV. And I was just like, we have to hear the national anthem play again, like it has to happen. And so. Yeah, it was, I mean, I'm so proud of him. He's just been doing exceptional work in the sport. Yes,
exceptional young man, of course. But I want to tap into something that I think I overheard in an interview you did, either immediately after the Olympics or immediately before the Olympics, where you said you were possibly considering the hip. Is that did I hear correctly?
Yes, you heard correctly. I'd like to try it before I get a little bit old on the older side. While I still have a little bit of youth on my side, I like to give it a try. But definitely an indoor pentathlon. We like to give it a go. My coach actually gave me the green light to do one in 2018, but we couldn't find a meet at the last minute, and so we skipped out on that one. But who knows? Maybe sometime soon.
Yeah, if that happens, you mentioned sometime soon. Is it sometime soon between now and 2024, or is it after 2024?
Yes, no, definitely before 2024.
Okay. How much of an influence is your husband in that regard, given that he's one of the world's best decathletes?
A huge influence. I actually used to do a few multi-events growing up, and just being around him and watching him compete and watching him enjoy what he does, it's definitely been an addition with me wanting to get back into it and just, give it a try. But, I also know it's a lot of work. So I'm hoping to have fun with it, but also put in a lot of work and get a good understanding of how everything works.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, you already know what it feels like to prepare for the 400 and 200. We've seen the videos of you lifting in the gym, some remarkable weights that I used to worry about when I used to run track a long time ago. So I wish you luck in that regard.
Thank you.
What's next for you? I mean, you're still in have you started preseason yet, or is that still to come?
Yeah, no, I haven't started yet. We start the first week in November. So this has been a great vacation, a great break from track, a little more than 2 months, 2.5 months or so. And so I've been enjoying it and truly relaxing and just getting my body refreshed and ready for the next season.
What's the most fun thing you've done since you've been on vacation?
I think just going back home and just relaxing with family. Especially during 2020, it's been so hard to spend time with the family, and so just to be back home and spend time with them, it was by far the best feeling.
Well, Shaunae, that brings us to the end of our talk today. But of course, really enjoyed talking to you. Wishing you all the best. Of course, wishing you a full recovery, because we love to see you run. Your dad told me that one time you came here to Jamaica on a cruise, I think it was, and you were treated royally. And so we love you here in Jamaica. And of course, we love to see you on the track. So we're wishing you all the best for 2022 going onwards. And of course, we hope to have you back on Point or some other platform in the near future.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And Jamaica is one of my favorite places to compete too. So I can't wait to be back there competing. So thank you so much. And thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, we love watching you run too. Of course, Shaunae Miller-Uibo, thank you so much. That's On Point for this week. Join us next week for another entertaining guest here on Point. Have a good day. Bye-bye. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe to our channel, like and share our content.